I didn't have time for that. I needed to wash my siblings' clothes. I needed to make sure I had clean socks. I needed to be an adult as a kid. I do think that going to therapy on my end is going to help. I know you just started going to therapy,
Mhm.
which I made a little bit of a prerequisite for being on the show. Out of love for you, that I knew that going to therapy meant something and has had an impact on me, and I didn't want to be the only one doing the work to heal. I feel like it's both of our responsibility to do the healing work. And so part of coming on the show was asking you. I didn't make it.
Yeah, you told me pretty much. It was like, Mom, before we do this, you got to do 3 sessions. And I'm still learning. I'm not afraid to say it. So when I went to these sessions, I thought I was going to come out better. I thought things was going to change. And I remember calling you when I got, I'm like, Mia, they didn't say anything. I don't feel, I'm still, you like, that's not what it is, Mom. I'm
Is
like,
that how hard I talk?
yes. I was just like, I just want to feel how you feel. You feel like you're going to take life and do what feels right for you. But I feel like I'm not depressed, but I feel like I'm afraid to be me because of me that I know was reckless.
Mm.
And I'm afraid that the new me, if I get caught up in any kind of chaos, I can become reckless and I can't have that. I don't, God, He don't want that for me. So I do tiptoe a lot and I go along with things that I would usually be like, no, I don't want to.
Is that what you did with therapy? You didn't really want to go?
No, I really wanted to go, but I was looking for a healing. I was looking for someone to validate that I did all I could for y'all. It makes me feel good. And I don't know if this is for everybody, but it makes me feel good when people see and acknowledge my goodness or my strength or that I'm trying. It makes me want to try harder versus people like, oh, I don't say that to you because you should know that.
Yeah. That's good. It makes me think of your question about mothering, and I felt like there was some time where I was scared to say, like, I recommend you go to therapy before the sessions because I didn't want to feel like I was mothering you. And I felt like I'd done that for so many years. It tried
You
to
like it
you like I like mothering you.
and record me.
I, okay. Oh my gosh. I didn't want to feel like I was mothering you. But yeah, so okay, the show is about to be over. Is there anything that you want to make sure that you say before we, or a question you haven't asked me, something that you want to make sure you get in before we end?
I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come on your show. Thank you for forgiving me and my lowest points of my life. And thank you for just being the woman that you have became. I don't know if you see it, but once again, when I see what the things you accomplish, that helps me sometimes pat my back and say, Rosie wasn't all bad. Because you have a lot of me in you, Mia.
Mm,
You do. You just seems to perceive things in a different light, but I see it. You can't hide it. I see it. I hear it. I feel it. And I just want more of it.
mm, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. When I was when I was growing up, I didn't listen to music a lot. I didn't watch TV. I
Why?
oh, I don't know why I didn't, but I'm glad I didn't because I think that's a huge part of who I've become, that I didn't have the noise in my head. So I don't know the music, I don't know the lyrics, I don't know the gyrating, I don't know. And it's funny now when I'm talking to my friends, they're like, "Oh, do you know young so and so or blah 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 blah?" Or I think I just know Jay-Z, Beyonce. I just know the mainstream of the mainstream. But my head wasn't in that. I wasn't thinking about any of the songs. I was not having CDs to be burned and made for me, any of that, because I didn't know any of the music. And I feel like I didn't have time for that. I needed to wash my siblings' clothes. I needed to make sure I had clean socks. I needed to be an adult as a kid. So I didn't have time to do all the things that other kids were doing. But I do remember watching Ricky Lake. And then when I saw Ricky Lake, I said, I am going to have a talk show like Ricky Lake when I grow up. I didn't see Oprah. Sorry, Oprah. I didn't see her much because she was on before I came home. Ricky Lake came on at 4 o'clock. I would race home to watch Ricky Lake. And I knew then that I wanted to be a talk show host. And so when I became an adult, I was like, how do you become a talk show host? Do that. So what I decided was to create my own. So here I am, and what a gift it is to have you beside me on this fourth season of the Audacity Show as we're talking about healing, recovery, addiction. We're talking about domestic violence, and we're talking about curating a life we love while we still have breath in our body and the best we can, doing the best we can with the hands that we're dealt, even when the deck is rigged. I'm so glad you lived. I'm so glad you survived. And I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Were you about to say something?
Yes, I did have something to say. I just wanted to say for anyone that's listening, as a young lady, know that you have to respect yourself, your mind, and do not accept people calling you out of your name, treating you any kind of way. Because small things go unaddressed turns into big things that you can end up in your death or even worse sometimes. So we have to realize, look for red flags. Start being more mindful of other people and the things that you do as young ladies. Because it's hard. It's truly hard. I know the norm was everybody calling each other out their name. That's not acceptable. We shouldn't welcome abuse. So remember, how you start is the way people think you should finish. So always start with your best foot forward. And that's it.
Last thing I'll say is we're going to come out with a book. Mark my words. I said it here first. This is 2000. I don't even know the year, but
25.
I didn't want you to say it. We're going to come out with a book. And I imagine this book being so powerful and transformational in terms of how addiction, domestic violence. I also saw the domestic violence that was happening. And so it's in my bones and in my psyche and all the things and the healing work that I'm doing around that and the healing work that you're doing around it that we get to tell the story. So I'm so glad y'all tuned in. And I hope that you feel the love, that you hear the healing, and that you continue to see the possibilities, not only for us, but for you too. And remember that the wounds may not be our fault, but the healing is our responsibility. Our healing, our collective healing is our responsibility. I am Mia Rose Dunlap, and this is the Audacity Show.